Welcome everyone, one and all, to Guvs Hero Impression and Review video for the November 2023 Hero of the Month, Renegade. So, Renegade is a 5-star red hero, has the title of being a Court-Martial Jester Commando. Yeah, so her artwork seems to draw a fair bit of inspiration from maybe Deadpool, a lot of blacks and reds and kind of going with that gung-ho sort of thing. I will say right from the outset, I do personally see Renegade as being female, mainly from the body language, the cast and all of that kind of thing in terms of how it's set. I feel like it's fairly feminine. I am aware that there is no massive enlargement in the chest region, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in real life, not all girls are built the same. I did ask support about this. I sent them a message and they gave me a bit of a walk around response saying that, quote, "the genders aren't specified in the game and therefore we cannot comment on or label the hero mentioned in my request, Renegade." So whatever, I'm going to keep referring to her as she/her just because that's what's in my head, but I mean, if you've got different thoughts, feel free to drop them in the comments. Happy to hear your reasons and all that kind of thing. So there's her full artwork. Yeah, so in terms of, whoops, we don't want that. Let's just go in here, there we go. In terms of her stats, Renegade has a fairly large bias towards the attack stack. It comes in with 806 attack, which is the highest in red by some margin. That is actually a really high attack stack. 677 defense and 1419 HP, so a lot of attack at the cost of the defense and health stats. Her special skill is set to 60 charge speed, which is in the fast category. That requires 9 tiles to charge, or 5 tiles being ghosted. You can speed break it quite easily. If you get a +5 weapon and attach it to her, that speeds breaks her down to 8 tiles to charge. You can't reach the next bracket up to go to 7 tiles, and there is also no benefit to picking up the speed node on her talent tree, even when equipping a +9 speed weapon. It just doesn't get you into a secondary break point. Her class-wise, Renegade is set as a sharpshooter, which grants the chance to bypass all defensive buffs, including counterattack, which generally speaking works quite well with snipers, as a means of avoiding getting their damage output negated, seeing as their entire purpose is to deal damage. If you are going to do a emblem route on her, I'm just going to show Naja here because Naja is also a sharpshooter. I'd pretty much follow this same sort of path. Like, the main priority for me would be attack. And if you follow this the whole way down, you'll see that there's not actually any nodes where you have to choose between attack on either side. It's always attack is only on one side of the path, so no need to really prioritize the second one. I'd just go straight up attack every single route that I could. And that does pick you up quite a fair bit of extra bonus attack points, particularly because one of those is the 3% attack bonus, which on Renegade's already very high attack stat is quite considerable. So that's what I would do in terms of an Emblem Path. Back over to Renegade, her skill is called Crank It Up, and at level 10 out of 10 and 60 charge speed, will deal 415% damage to the target. The caster will receive stealth and 28% dodge for 3 turns if the target is killed. This description is actually a lot cleaner now than it was on release. I don't know if you guys remember, the release version was actually really complicated, and I gave the support team some feedback and they've cleaned it up to pretty much exactly what I wrote down as the suggestion. So stealth bonus will prevent them from getting hit by any new special skills, and dodge does, well, what everyone knows dodge does. Caveat is that this only applies if the target is killed, so it does put a fair bit of a caveat on that second one. It does summon a Jack-in-a-Box minion for the caster with 15% HP and 15% attack, inherited from the caster, and when the minion dies, it deals a whopping 412 poison damage over 4 turns. Now that is an insane amount of poison damage from a minion dying, but we're going to get into that later because we will break this skill down a little bit. So we'll start at the top. That damage, 415% damage, is actually really high on her base attack stat. So By way of comparison to some other snipers, we've got Ridge, who has the highest damage output of any red sniper. That's 515% damage at 706 attack. So I'll convert all these numbers into attack power, which is just the percentage multiplied by their base attack stat. So Ridge has 3635 attack power. Glitch is probably the next best one. Does 420% at 737 attack, so 3095. Sunbeam does 400% at 755 attack, or 3020. Delmar, who's kind of the dark horse in terms of red snipers, he does between 300 and 504% damage at 704 attack. That percentage is based on how much charge the target has, so it can be a attack power ranging between 2112 all the way up to 3548. So Renegade comes in at 415% of 806 attack for 3,344 attack power. So that's the second best behind Ridge. Delmar could possibly do more, but because he's got such a broad band, I don't really count him as being 504%. So Renegade has the second highest attack power behind Ridge, but the downside to Ridge is that he is slower charge speed and gives himself a charge ailment, whereas Renegade, none of those negatives, only positives. So overall, I would actually say Renegade is probably the best red sniper available in the game right now. So Ridge, if you can negate that ailment, is better, but just for an out-and-out hero in a vacuum, I'd say Renegade is the best sniper. That second line, the stealth and dodge for 3 turns, it's okay. I mean, the caveat of it only applying when the target dies does limit the effect quite a lot. And stealth really only helps against dumb targeting, so i.e. the AI attacks from the defense team. It does help with AoE attacks, so AoE 3, AoE 5 attacks as well to some extent, but overall it's neither here nor there. It doesn't really make a huge impact on the skill. Getting to that bottom line, the minion is only 220-ish HP, which is very low, but that's a function more of the low HP that Renegade has to start with than anything else. But realistically, if we look at that next line about the poison damage, you actually do want that minion to die really easily, because that's where the true power of this minion comes from. It comes from that poison DOT, which is actually insane. For reference, that minion gives more poison DOT than most heroes that have a discrete line in their special skill granting burn, poison, bleed, or whatever as an actual item of their special skill. So we can literally, I'll just go and quickly compare it to Naja. Naja's actually in the portal, funnily enough. Naja here, she does 160% damage at 828 attack. So, sorry, Naja does have a higher base attack stat. I did forget about Naja in my list. But anyway, she has only 160% damage compared to Renegade's 415% damage. But you look at that bleed line, Naja only does 172 bleed over 4 turns. Renegade, comparatively, her minion when it dies does 412 damage over 4 turns. So not only does Renegade do almost 3 times the direct damage, but the minion also gives almost 2.5 times the DOT. So overall, Renegade I see as being a phenomenal attacking hero. Limited use on the defense just because of that flimsy defense and HP stat. So in terms of the grading of her, I would rank her as A grade on attack, B grade on War Machine, and that's only because she's got a mega attack stat. There's nothing really in her skill that actually aids on a War Machine. For defense, she's probably about a C or a very low B, so like C plus, B minus kind of range, and that's mainly because she's so flimsy. She'll hit really hard from the wing position if she fires, but if she doesn't fire, then she's a kind of a non-thing on the defense team. For events, again, C/B range, there's nothing really special to her skill, it's just her attack stat that helps out. For tournaments, so if you run through the tournament setups, you've got Bloody Battle, A for attack, B for defense. That is because of the pseudo healing that she does, huge amount of whack damage, and then also the hefty DOT, which does play more of a part in Bloody Battle because you can't really heal or get rid of the ailments as easily. For charged attack, probably a little bit down on those other grades, so a B for attack, C for defense, and that's because her speed is already quite fast. It's already 60. Charged attacks goes only to 65, so she doesn't really get any benefit, very limited benefit, because she's already quite fast. Buff booster, same as charged attack, B and a C for attack and defense, and that's because there's no real benefit to her. She doesn't really give herself any buffs, she doesn't help the team out with more buffs, but she still does go whack. So overall, in terms of grades, I'd probably rank her as overall, factoring all attack situations, probably a B+ for attack, if not an A-, and then a C for defense, just because she's not really got much of a position on the defense team. So yeah, overall, that's pretty much the content for this review of Renegade. I do see her as quite a powerful hero, very good in the attacking situations where you can control her. That DOT is phenomenal from that minion. So yeah, really great hero. I'm pretty happy I did jag her, quite luckily off a single summon. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts and your feedback on this hero. This is just my personal opinion, so please do drop me a note in the comments of this video. I love hearing your feedback and your own thoughts about these heroes as well. If you did enjoy the video and found it useful, again, drop a like on the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, share the video around with your Alliance members. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your time and for joining me, and good luck and happy gaming. Cheers.